Right? People love to talk about privacy, but at the end of the day, we all want what we want, and YouTube is a great place for engaging video content.
Right, but what about the monetization issues? Just the attractiveness of that platform, and whether this regulation and more that might be coming, is it making it so that it's less attractive for creators?
It's got the scale that advertisers really want. So it's an incredibly attractive platform. I think they probably got a little bit beyond their skis in terms of saying, hey, we have children here and violating the COPA Online Privacy Act for children, and that's where the fine comes from. But they still have massive scale, and I don't see that really changing in the near term.
But if they want to reach children, Gene, then how do they say to a Mattel or a Hasbro, hey, we've got children within that massive scale? I mean, people want not just numbers, they want specific information about the demographic they're going after, no? So doesn't that change the way Alphabet does business?
Absolutely, Melissa. I mean, this will impact that segment undoubtedly, and I think that it's probably important to think, too, about the context. This is a very small segment of Google's overall business. It tends to be, we all know that the wheelhouse of advertising dollars are really the 30 to kind of 50-year-old demographic. And so obviously parents in that age group spend for their kids, so that gets pulled into that. But ultimately, I think that there are going to be some changes, and the biggest change that you will see here is in terms of how they're going to allow messaging and some of the targeting. So this is, I want to put some quick perspective on everything that's going on. The concept of Google getting a fine is nothing new. Over the past 2 years, the EU has had 3 fines against Google, totaling $9.4 billion. This $170 million fine is probably a definition of a slap on the wrist. And I think in the context of the bigger story here going forward is Google is becoming an expert at dealing with these fines. And this is essentially a scenario where there's a whack-a-mole approach between regulators and the company, and who knows what we'll be talking about next week, some other demographic, some other segment that is feeling slighted by Google, that there'll be some other fine.
Right, which doesn't have you concerned about the stock, Gene, at all, it sounds like. And Jim, so if that's who they're after, they want to know where these young viewers are, for example, in order to market the products more effectively. Is there anywhere else to go? I mean, what's going to happen now to everybody who possesses this information?
Well, the same problems that befell Google befall anybody who's trying to target children with advertising on the internet, right? And so there's a famous New Yorker cartoon. It's the dog in front of the computer. It says, on the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. Well, on the internet, nobody knows if you're under 13 either. And I think that's really, Google probably didn't know for a fact that those people were under 13, but they didn't ask enough questions. And then they started marketing audiences that clearly they had an idea that they were under 13.